Stephen Ellis of Daily Faceoff joins to look at three potential players who would make a ton of sense for the Sharks at the end of the first, beginning of the second round.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network, we cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow along wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch this on YouTube as well. And today we're joined by good friend Stephen Ellis of the Daily Faceoff. We're going to be looking at three players that would make a lot of sense that end of the first round, beginning of the second round range for the Sharks. We're going to be looking at Simon Wang, big, raw defenseman, Shane Vansaghi, a big puck-moving, physical forward. And then we're going to be looking at Gastrin as well, who's a good two-way center that could be a really nice 3C potential for the Sharks. So let's get started with Stephen Ellis. And now we bring in Stephen Ellis from Daily Faceoff, who's going to read all 10,000 words of his latest column because I'm not reading all of that. No, Stephen, how's it going, buddy?
Well, if you just search up the word, I'm curious. If I search up the word "the" in the article, there is 522 uses of it, so that saves you some time.
That saves you some time. We're like halfway done already. Just don't read the word "the." You don't need to. It's just skip over it. So
the sentences may not make any sense after a while, but you know.
Yeah, you don't need to repeat. 10,000. That's a lot of writing on a lot of different prospects. But today we are focusing on three prospects as we continue to focus on these late first, beginning of the second picks for the San Jose Sharks. We're going to start on the back end and talk about one Simon Wang first. So Simon Wang, defenseman, played last season with Oshawa in the OHL. 6'6", 212 pounds, left-handed shot and he is a big raw prospect, right? Is that where you start with him?
Yeah, this is a guy that, the story goes, he only started to really take being a prospect seriously just a couple of years ago. He was born in Beijing, China, so we have a potential first round prospect from China for the first time ever, which is a big deal. And part of that is because of how big he is. He's 6'6". He takes up a lot of space. He's very mobile. And I got to watch him because if you look at his stats this year, you look at him in the King Rebellion in the OHL, and he had some really good numbers there, 22 points for 38 games. And the OJHL, a junior A league, like Jake Wallman and who's another one? Mario Ferraro, guys that Sharks fans might recognize as players that came through that league. With him, he played on the King Rebellion. His family owned the team. He looked really good. I've never seen an OJHL player attract all 32 teams to watch him in just one random game in November on a Sunday. That's how many people wanted to see what he's capable of here. And you'll look at draft boards and they'll be kind of all over the place. I think I probably have him higher than most. I got him number 32. Lee Prospects is not far off, and some are second and third round. But what you're looking at here is this is not a super strong draft. And if you're looking for a defenseman at the end of the first round, I think you might as well take a chance on someone who moves as well as he does, thinks the game like he does, and has that size. And that's the thing. He's not going to be a 6'6" shutdown defenseman. He's going to be one that is going to go out there and take a lot of shots and do things like that. But he's still very raw. And we saw that with him in the OHL as he tried to adjust to the pace and the play reads, and felt like it took him a bit. But he's played better in the playoffs than he did in the regular season, where he only had 2 points. But for me, I like the fact that this is a guy that is going to turn a lot of heads when people start to see what he's capable at college, because at every level, people kind of underestimated him, and every time he figured out okay, I just need to do this to adjust. I need to do this to adjust, and he gets it done. So when you've got a guy who moves as well as he does for his size, he got a lot of penalties in the OJHL, not because he's going out there and crushing everybody and being a goon. It's just a lot of the times he got penalties for just being bigger than someone else. But I feel like he's going to be one of those guys that impresses more once they go to the AHL than they did when they played junior hockey. And that's because I see a lot of those pro traits in the way he works, that size, obviously, and the way he processes the game.
So that's interesting, right? That you say as maybe when he becomes a professional, his game is just maybe more tailored to that. So for him, going to college next year, do you think that's the correct route for him for a guy, who, as you said, has a lot of pro traits already?
I would like to see him, like, as Oshawa has more turnover next summer or this summer. I would kind of like to see him spend another year in the OHL before he goes to college. He's got that opportunity now. It'll be interesting to see if any of his plans change. But I think, and part of that is just because there's been a lot of change. Like he's been through. It went to OHL and the OJHL this past year. Like, it'd be nice to have him actually have a bit of consistency and be in one spot and just learn the system and continue to improve that way. So that's what I would do. But I do think that you got to be patient with him because, again, there's raw. Like, this is someone who was on no one's draft radar like this time last year whatsoever, and he didn't play a ton. He didn't have a ton of points in the OJHL. There was nothing that said like, oh, this guy you need to pay attention to. But even in his OHL draft year, it was just nothing special. But the more I watched him play, the more I saw like this guy's got what a very few defensemen in this draft has, and that's just that mobility and that size combination. And as he continues to figure out how to handle quicker competition, I think he's going to be okay.
So, I mean, is it you mentioned, right? He's not like wasn't on anybody's radar. Is it a combination of one, right? The potential, and GMs, 6'6" defenseman, they're going to salivate over the thought of that. And plus, as you mentioned, it's a bad draft. Like the draft this year just isn't as exciting. Do you think that is a big reason why his stock has risen so much lately? Or do you think there's actually like a legitimate chance that this guy could be turned into something?
It's a mix of all of that. Like, I think if you look at it, and if you don't, let's say Merca's off the board, Schaefer's off the board, Smith's off the board, Kashawn Aitchison's off the board. I love him. Logan Hensler's off the board. Fiddler, Sasha Beaumedienne. At that point, I don't know who else you would take as a defenseman. Like, that's the thing. That's when it starts to fall off. Then you're taking, okay, there's Charlie Trethewey, who's good, but really just doesn't produce enough to be that offensive defenseman that many expect him to be. There's Carter D'Amico, who missed most of the season with an injury. There's Henry Brustowitz, who played in London. So if you saw Sam Dickinson highlights, you know what he could do. I don't know how much upside there is there. Defensively can be some question marks there. That's why I'm looking at this and saying, like, that's why I like part of like Simon Wang. Part of it is the opportunity to kind of slide in and be this type of player you can't find at that point in the draft. But on the other hand, it's you talk to scouts and they see like this guy in the last year and a half, completely different style player. If he continues on the trajectory, he's going to be a very good pick.
Okay. How, again, raw prospect, right? Is this a guy where you're not really seeing returns until 3-4 years down the line, you think, for him, right? Couple years, whether it's, a year back in the O, then go to college for a couple years and then sometime in the A, like, is that kind of what you're expecting for Wang?
Yeah, like we're talking like maybe 22, 23. That's when he's trying to break into the NHL. And everyone develops differently, but this is someone who didn't take hockey, like wanting to take hockey as a career that seriously just a few years ago. So like he's really come a long way.
Okay. What do you think kind of the one thing that he needs to kind of work on as he continues his progression? Is it just getting more games under his belt? Is that what you think he needs to work on the most? Or like what is the area you want to see him improve the?
I think he's a smart defenseman, but I feel like just being able to read where the passes are going to go and being able to understand how to process that at a quicker pace and be able to then use that to his advantage to go out there and win battles is what really needs to take that next step for him. I think he's got a powerful shot, and once he gets more confidence, I think he's going to do it. But like he started the first half in the OHL, then we hear about the NCAA ruling that allows CHLers to go to the NCAA. All of a sudden, he gets called up to the OHL, actually went back down to the OJ, and then went back to the O. But he went to a team that was very competitive, looking for a championship, and was kind of thrown into a third pairing spot. So his role was a little bit different than I think, much different than what we saw from him in the OJ. That's why I would like them to go back to the O and play a bigger role for a sustained period of time and then see how he kind of develops from there. And that's why I think once he gets more comfortable and isn't just playing that third pairing minutes, he could become, they just can't process games quicker.
So if you're the Sharks, we're recording more of the draft lottery. You feel pretty good about whatever pick you're going to get in the top three here. Wang just like total swing for the fences, especially if I have another high second round pick, and then another second round pick from the Sens. Like one of those where I'm gonna it's either gonna be a home run or I strike out with Wang.
Maybe.
Okay.
I feel confident he's gonna be an NHL player. It's just what type of role is he going to be? Is he going to be a sixth defenseman? Is he going to be a fourth defenseman? Is he going to be a seventh defenseman? That's the thing I think we're looking at here.
All right. Before we continue with Steven, we look at Vansaghi, why he feels like a perfect Mike Greer type of player. Just need to take a quick break. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the in-shell variety. I love hearing the little crack as I open it up to get to the actual nut. But if you're a no-shell person, I'm not going to shell shame you. They have plenty of different options and plenty of different flavors for you as well. I love throwing a bag in my desk at work. Right around 2:30, get that snacky feeling. Wonderful Pistachios got you covered there. So get snacking, get cracking with a snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Let's switch over to a Michigan State forward who, if you like power forwards, this guy might be right up your alley. Shane Vansaghi, 6'2", 216-pound right-handed forward, 37 games, 6 goals, 10 assists, 55 shots on goal. This feels like a Mike Greer type of player. Big, skilled, big and skilled. So, Vansaghi, what makes him so intriguing?
There's not a lot of offensive upside. So I know that doesn't sound very intriguing at all. But what you're going to look at here is, again, you're looking for players late in the first, early second, things like that, guys who have a good shot at becoming an NHL player. It's one thing to take a swing, but swings that early can be what loses you a job. With Vansaghi, I see a very safe NHL player, someone who some scouts think he's a late first rounder, some think he's middle second. I got him just kind of right at the beginning of that second round, but would understand if he went in the first. I watched him play earlier this year in Buffalo in a college game, and he was kind of like that fourth line guy. The grinder, killing penalties, doing all that stuff. Didn't impress me much. Goes to the top line, instantly was the best player. And I think with them, he's so adaptable. You could throw him in so many different roles on a team, but he's got that defensive game locked down. He hits people. He doesn't take stupid penalties. Like it's another guy who sometimes will get penalties because he hits hard and shouldn't be fully penalties. But he lays himself on the line all the time. Watching him at the NTDP last year, I was like, okay, he's fine, but nothing too special. And his numbers weren't great, but you started to really kind of appreciate him more as the season wore on, as someone who just knew how to play the role asked for him. He's a guy that I wouldn't be surprised if he's wearing a letter on his jersey at some point in the NHL, because he's someone that always does what's asked of him and goes above and beyond. And again, he doesn't have that skill. He doesn't have the hands to go be this really impactful, high scoring power forward, but he's going to be someone who bottom six is going to do so many things that you like him that you're going to want him in the lineup for sure.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Right. And like you said, right, you're looking for paths to an NHL player. And again, this draft really kind of does fall pretty quickly after 15 to 20, right, where it definitely starts to kind of fall off here. So a guy like Vansaghi, who he's going to spend another year or two probably in college before probably turning pro there. But again, like if you're the Sharks, you have a lot of top end skill and helping to kind of fill out some of these bottom line guys who exactly what they're going to be. If you need them to jump up a little bit and play maybe middle six, or if you need to be a bottom six player, like they already know that role. They've been playing in that role. It makes sense. And again, 6'2", we know Mike Greer likes his big boys, right? You look at how the Barracuda team is built right now. It does make a lot of sense to me for Greer to be interested in a guy like this, right? Or am I overthinking it?
No, you're looking at it correct. Like when you're picking in the bottom half of the second round, you're looking at somebody who is not going to be a top six player unless you get like really lucky and like you pick Tage Thompson, But
or Stankoven or like one of these guys where it's just like,
you're looking for I can get a Trent Frederick type of player. Oh, cool. Like a guy that's going to be built for playoff hockey because he wants to hit. He's aggressive, but he also works hard and he's moving all the time and he can do all this stuff. Like that's someone there where you're not betting on the skill with him. You're betting him on the pro traits and the things that can go out there and be an impactful, make him an impactful player. And I see that with Vansaghi. So I like that. And the Sharks fans probably would too if they saw him play because he's a tough beep, beep, beep to play against. And I like guys like that.
Thanks. You saved me some editing, Steven. So what do you think you want to see? He put up solid numbers, especially as a freshman playing in NCAA, like during his draft year. Like, I think we kind of take that for granted sometimes, like how tough it is, especially as going in your draft year playing in the NCAA. But what do you want to see him continue to develop throughout his career at Michigan State?
So when he gets drafted, like at this point, he's proven everything he could do as a bottom six guy who play that style game. I want to see him try and elevate his game offensively. I want to see him go out there and not just look for the passes, but actually take the puck, be a bit more selfish, and can try and shoot because he brings a lot of power to the game and he's got a good shot. It's just he doesn't take it a lot. And I want to say good shot, more powerful than I'd say accurate in a lot of cases, but still someone who, when he's dealing with the puck, he can make things happen. So I think with him, it's just go out there and try and be a bit more of an offensive leader. We all kind of thought Michigan State would not have Isaac Howard next year, and having him back means, okay, that's one extra roster spot you can't go and fill. But I still think he's like, if he can take his offensive game to another step and show that, oh yeah, he can also score goals too, will make him a lot more exciting of a prospect.
So safe floor, but you think there's a little bit of runway here for him as well to again, probably still a bottom six guy, but you think there might be some untapped offensive potential?
I wouldn't say I think that. I would just say I kind of hope there is.
That's what you're hoping for?
Yeah, it's kind of like you've got all these other elements to his game. Like, let's see if you can like force yourself into more than just a depth situation.
Makes sense. Kind of the same thing, right? You expect probably another season or two at Michigan State before at least a year. But, I mean, if you mentioned, right, if he might be one of those players probably acclimates to pro hockey pretty quickly because of just the style of play he has.
He could probably play in the AHL next year. Wouldn't be the right move at all, but like he could probably figure it out. So yeah, I think so.
Okay. How much? I mean, really quickly on the Isaac Howard thing, like how much? I know Sharks fans are kind of like, that's a guy, as the Sharks try to go full Thanos and accumulate every prospect that there ever was, but like, how big is that for Michigan State to have Howard coming back for this next season here?
Huge. Surprising. 100%. Like that's a guy that probably should be playing in the at least the AHL next year. Like he put up really good numbers and was obviously the best player in college. Most guys I talk to still don't know if he's even a top 50 prospect overall. Like if you're looking at where like he might fit in like San Jose's depth chart, I'd say like Dickinson's ahead of him, assuming that we're not counting Celebrini. I'd say like Dickinson's ahead of him, and I'd say Musty's ahead of him, and maybe Chernishoff is kind of in a different way, like I feel a bit more safe about Chernishoff. But then after that, I'd say he kind of fits in there. So like you want a guy like that would be a great guy to get as like a second or third line scorer, but we'll see. I don't know. The fact that he isn't signing with Tampa, a team that at some point is going to need to get these young guys to become something as the team starts to look for the future. That one was a little odd to me because it's like, that's not a situation you like when you've seen so many young guys go into Tampa and make something of themselves. And
they're very good at developing their player. Like they're very good at developing these guys to come in and fill a role for them. Yeah.
Nikita Kucherov was not a high pick, and going out there and like, so it was a little surprising that seems to have fallen apart. But the fact, I guess we'll see where those sweepstakes go. And I could say that every time a team trades a guy out of college like that, it never works out for them. So we'll see.
Never works out for the team that trades them, or
because it's like they never get anything good out of it. Like Massimo Rizzo, if he ends up being something for Philadelphia, it's like they acquired him for like peanuts.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, before we finish up with Steven, we talk about Milton Gastrin, two-way center from Sweden. Just need to take a quick break.
An award-winning mattress can change your life. I speak from experience. It happened to me. After years of uncomfortable sleeps, I recently switched to Bear Mattress, and the results were instant. Bear Mattress is designed with a focus on recovery, cooling, and pressure relief to upgrade your sleep and improve your overall quality of life. I used to deal with night sweats, but Bear's best-in-class cooling ensures optimal temperature regulation, which prevents overheating and helps me stay comfortable all night long. Bear offers a wide variety of mattresses, but to get the right one for you, take their sleep quiz that matches you to your perfect mattress based on body type and sleep preferences. Go to bearmattress.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL at checkout to get 40% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. You have to use my promo code on the very last page of checkout to get this discount. That's bearmattress.com. Use my promo code LOCKEDONNHL to get 40% off site-wide. Bearmattress.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL.
Okay, let's switch over to the last guy. We're going full Swede here. We're going to be talking about Milton Gastrin, forward, playing for Moto. Spent most of his year playing for J20. Got a handful of games up in the SHL as well. 6'1", 185-pound left-hand shot, 40 games, 18 goals, 24 assists for Moto. What makes Gastrin such an intriguing prospect, especially this range?
Really smart two-way center. And we saw it every single time he played internationally. Didn't matter who he's playing with. He was often the one making things happen. And the more I watched him play, whether it be with Ivor Stenberg or watching, with Jacob Wozniak, it was starting to remind me of what David Edstrom did in his
that's a name.
A name the
Yes.
Sharks fans would remember. A guy that went out and got a very important piece, but man, losing David Edstrom stinks because I think he's going to be a very good second or third line player in the NHL. And with him, with Gastrin, you see just the way he processes the game. He's smart. He's really good around the net, like just smart little chip plays. Just this plays you go like, oh yeah, like not flashy, but it was effective, and that's way more important than being flashy. So he just does a lot of things with a puck that just like, yep. Good play, smart play, and not a lot of plays that are the complete opposite. And that's what you're looking for. The upside there is good. Probably not going to put up a ton of points. Like maybe he's a 40, 50 point guy at max, but I think he's still someone where you give him the right situation. He's going to outthink players a lot. He could be on the penalty kill, and he's been a captain of that Swedish team for a few years now. So they clearly think really highly of him. And I think that as a potential late first round pick, like I really like that as a target because players that think the way he does, which is just, again, not just simple, but the right play all the time. Guys like that have good careers.
So for the Sharks, right? Maggots Alberti, I think it's pretty safe to say 1C for the foreseeable future, right? Will Smith, I know he played on wing. Mike Gers made it pretty clear he wants to give Smith some runway next season to play the 2C, and that's who they're penciling in as the long-term 2C. That 3C, right? And I think especially if you have Smith, who's going to be a more offensively focused 2C, I think that 3C in the Sharks system is very important as a guy who can play those big time defensive minutes and kind of, I don't want to say cover for Will Smith, but you need a guy like Will Smith's not going to be known for his two-way game, right? So do you think for Gastrin, he could potentially be that guy for the Sharks?
I think so. Like you're looking there of like Philip Bustad, if you're still thinking about him as a prospect worth noting, like I think he'll be kind of like they're different players, but I'd say they're kind of close probably in terms of like potential there. And doesn't have the size that Bustad does, but he's got just the hockey IQ, that ability to be on the power play and the penalty kill and do all these different situations there. So not an explosive offensive player, but is going to do just everything you need him to do. And that's like when I look at the guys on this list, like that's what I'm looking at here. Like guys who feel like they're going to be NHLers, not because of pure skill, but because they have this ability to be impactful in so many other ways off the score sheet. The teams are going to be looking at that and say, oh, we kind of like that.
Makes sense. For him, right? And it's always weird with the, Swedish kids, like how long they stay over in Sweden before they come over. But I expect next year at least a full season at SHL. Hopefully that's the hope, right? Is he's playing full season at SHL, and then maybe you kind of make a decision there, or do you let him just kind of marinate over there for a couple seasons, or like what do you think is the proper play for him?
I think this is one where you probably give him 1 year Sweden, maybe see if you can get him for like the final year of junior hockey in the CHL type thing, and then maybe go to the AHL from there and see. But I like what he brings to the table as long as you're patient with him, and I think that's going to go a long way. So you don't need to rush him. Like the Sharks are in a situation here where they're still in the rebuild, but so you don't need to rush them. But
we're fun and frisky now officially, Steven. Fun and frisky.
Yeah. Oh man, no team is more fun to watch this year than the San Jose Sharks. You never know if you're going to watch a 7-6 hockey game, but it's going to be entertaining as hell. And that's the thing. So it's like at a certain point here, you're going to want to get better, but you're still going to need to have those young guys who can, when those contracts start to rise, who could still go into the fray there and it'd be on entry level contracts, save you a bit of dollars, but be effective. And that's maybe what we're looking at here. So we'll see. I don't know exactly his trajectory up to the NHL yet, but I do feel confident that he'll be 22 years old. He'll be an important player.
What do you want to see him continue to work on as he progresses?
Play more in Sweden or the SHL. Just play against tougher competition because he can obviously outthink most players in his own age group. Let's see what he can do against older guys.
Makes sense, right? And again, I assume, right, if he got a handful of games here, he's probably due to play play a full season SHL, right?
You don't get a lot of draft plus one guys going and playing Swedish junior hockey. So yeah, that's it.
All right. Out of all three of these guys here, really quick, which one do you think is the most Mike Greery of the three?
Vansaghi, a guy that's, I think he's going to appreciate his work ethic and like the drive to make sure he wins every face-off or every battle. That's a guy you're looking at there and like, yeah, okay. It might be a bit of a stretch to take him. Like, I think I got him lower than the other two guys, but you're getting an NHL player for sure. And I'd say actually of the three, I feel like he might be the safest NHL pick.
Sometimes you got to hit singles and doubles to win ball games. And if you feel like you're getting a home run with Schaefer or Misa or whoever they get in the top pick, and then hitting a nice single or double with Vansaghi, not a bad way to start a potential draft here. So
you look at it, and as much as you would love to have 40 Celebrinis and 100 Will Smiths and all the things like that, you actually need like other positions on the team. And I think
Celebrini can play any position effectively that you ask them to. Like if you want a Celebrini to be a grinded out like fourth liner, I think he could do that too.
Well, with Crosby and McKinnon at the World Championship, what role is he going to play? Is he going to be the winger on this team? I don't know. I'm excited to see what he's able to do. I think
I'm very excited. I got him as I have a list
where he plays. I got a list of the top players to watch in the tournament, and even though there's other guys probably ahead of him in the NHL right now, I have him as one of those players to watch just because, like, okay, you've got the veterans in McKinnon and Crosby. Let's see if Celebrini can outshine them.
He does do a lot of stuff per 60, as we Jay Fresh noted today. He does do a lot of stuff per 60. So, all right, Steven, where can people read 10,000 words of you talking about U18s?
dailyfaceoff.com, and there's going to be a lot of words that are going to be coming up over the next few months. I think it's going to be May 28th is when I start my one prospect story per day leading up to the draft, between rankings, mock drafts, player profiles, lists, everything you want to learn about. It's going to be there. And again, I'm disappointed the draft is not in person this year. Like it's not going to be a big full draft thing like we saw last year at the Sphere, but it sounds like that might be a one and done. So we'll see.
Are you going to be at the draft? Or are you just doing it from home this year?
I think that's the plan. We honestly, we're still evaluating kind of what's going on. I think everyone's still looking like, is it worth it this year for this year's draft class? But
I think
2026 is a fun draft class. I'll say that. But hey, to be fair, I feel like we say that every year at next year's draft. But 2025,
it's always going to be the next year. Yes.
Gavin McKenna.
Gavin McKenna's gonna be fun. Hopefully, my plans to be in LA too. So we'll hang out, do the fun thing and all that great stuff. So LA. Nice weather that time of year. So LA's got nice weather all the time. So you can bring some shorts, Steven. You'll be fine. So we'll talk to you again hopefully soon before the draft. And good luck with your 10,000 words a day. That's what I'm expecting. 10,000 words a day, Steven.
day. Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to Florida for the games 3 and 4 for the Leafs, while also
Just
paying attention to
a lot.
which is also paying attention to the World Championship at the same time. Which the 6 a.m. games are a bit 6 a.m. Eastern time. It'd be worse for you guys, but something tells me you're probably not waking up for Canada Slovenia at 6 a.m. So we'll see.
3 a.m. No thanks, buddy. All right, we'll chat again soon.
Thanks so much.
All right, I do want to thank Stephen Ellis taking some time out to talk about 3 potential players here with the Sharks. Now that we've actually passed the draft lottery, assuming they pick a forward at 2, you do wonder if one of these picks here at whatever the Dallas pick is and 33, if they do try to go defenseman there, but it does feel like it might be a little bit more forward heavy in this group, so it'll be interesting to see how Mike Greer navigates. But Vansaghi does feel 100% like a Mike Greer type of player, just the way he plays. So we'll continue to do these at least once a week. Right now we'll be doing these draft profiles where we look at kind of these late first, early second round players and try to kind of spread a wide net on some of these guys, so at least we know who we're could be targeting for the Sharks here when the draft comes up at the end of June. So we'll be back tomorrow, so make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until tomorrow, bye, friends.